My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. All right, welcome back to another episode of Life Without Struggle. My name is Arin Lindauer, and today we're going to dig into a topic all about protein. So I want to take you through just a journey of, why is protein so important? What does it actually do in our body? How it impacts our hormones, just how it impacts everything. So I titled this podcast, Protein is Essential, because it truly is, and it's one of the most overlooked places in a weight loss journey, especially for women. Men too, by the way, but especially for women. And so, okay, let's talk into why. Why is protein just so overlooked? Like, if it is such a miracle piece to our weight loss journey, why isn't everybody talking about it? Well, to be honest, with most things that I have found in the weight loss industry is it's too simple, right? Like, everybody wants this to be 10,000 times harder than what it needs to be. And that's, again, why I come and put the content out here, because I want you to have the truth. And here is what works. But for most people, they will literally dismiss it because it's just too freaking simple. So let's dig into this. Number one, most women, when I first encounter them and I'm starting to coach them, and I'm coaching them specifically on weight loss, they understand, okay, they need to sleep a little bit more. They understand that they need to move their body, getting some steps in. They can reasonably understand that they don't drink enough water. And then food is really the missing link. And honestly, the food is really everything in this weight loss journey. So the first thing we talk into is how much protein are you getting in? For most women, they just vastly underestimate or even realize how much they actually need in a day. For most women, they will tell me like, hey, I really desire some weight loss and close to like that 20, 30, 40 plus pounds. And then they tell me, hey, I really want that toned lean look. I want to be able to see definition in my arms and my legs. And so, okay, there's a lot to doing that. And so the first thing that we always speak into is okay, how much protein are you taking in? Because protein is going to be one of the most crucial roles in bodily functions for both men and women. But there are specific reasons why, for a woman's health, she wants to dig into this. So first and foremost, we have to focus on muscle maintenance and development. So protein is going to play a huge role in maintenance and development of muscles, and women, like men, benefit from the protein to support muscle growth, muscle repair, and then muscle maintenance. So adequate protein can help women maintain that lean muscle mass when it is just important in your overall strength and functionality. So if you are resistance training, you need to increase your protein intake to help you recover. We're also going to dig into this from a weight management standpoint. So protein-rich foods can contribute to a feeling of being full and having satiety. So including protein in your meals, and then if we have a snack, this is going to help women manage their weight by reducing our overall calorie intake and preventing overeating because you're genuinely full. The problem is carbohydrates are so much easier. think about, this was one of my favorites, is the 100-calorie packs. I know who made these, but like, what is the point or the purpose of a 100-calorie pack? Now, would it be helpful for someone who maybe has type 1 diabetes and needed a really quick way to get in some sugar? Sure, but that's where we really need to think about is, okay, once you eat one, you want another, you want another, you want another, and it's because of what gets released and then what happens to our insulin when we consume carbs. So no one explains this to people. Nobody goes into the detail to help you understand that when you just take in a carbohydrate, you're going to instantly feel better, but then you're going to burn it very, very quickly. So it's very, very efficient. And so there's points and premises behind why we want a carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are not the devil. They come into a crucial role in our effort to stay alive and thrive, okay? But it's protein that I really want to highlight. And this is the thing, is protein is not just readily available. It's not sitting in a box in our pantry. It's not maybe packed in our purse. And we have to be a little more intentional when we think about, okay, what are my protein sources? This is one of the biggest things that I do help women understand, like, hey, we really need to build our meal around having a good 20 to 30 grams of protein. So you really want to think the palm of your hand. For men, it will be double. So I want to think about, what is my protein source? Because this is what's going to keep you full longer. This is what's going to help balance out. So you need to have the carbohydrate. Typically, it's best to get your carbohydrate from fruits, from veggies, and then our complex carbohydrates such as brown rice or quinoa or like a sweet potato I would throw in that group. And that's going to be your better bet. But again, that doesn't mean you can't have the white potatoes, where I want to go with that. The other thing that's important with protein is hormone production. So proteins are involved in the production of hormones, which are crucial for various physiological processes, including the regulation of our menstrual cycles. Adequate protein intake is important for the synthesis of hormones that plays a role in reproductive health. So we'll dig into this a little bit deeper here. Another place that we don't talk about enough is bone health. So this is something that for a lot of women, and in particular when we have worked with aging women in our gym, bone health is really, really important. And so we think about calcium as obviously what is associated with bone health, but protein is also important. Bones are not just made up of minerals, but also contain a matrix of proteins. So adequate protein intake is essential for maintaining bone density and preventing conditions like osteoporosis, but it can also help aid in getting someone out of osteopenia. So I want to put that in there because so many times we think, oh, my family history is osteoporosis. Well, here's the thing. You can 100% combat that. It takes being intentional, moving your body, having the impact, and having the tensile forces that occur when you resistance train. So I put that in there because we have actually helped client after client, woman after woman, just simply get into a regular strength training program, increasing her protein intake, and we have gotten them out of osteopenia. So it is possible, and this was all done without medication. The other thing that you want to consider is immune function. So proteins are vital for a strong immune system. Many immune cells and antibodies are composed of proteins. So ensuring an adequate protein intake can help support the body's defense against infections and illnesses. So that's a whole nother layer. Here's another one that I think is really important is tissue repair and wound healing. So protein is crucial for tissue repair and then obviously healing a wound, whether it's recovering from just a simple scrape or a major surgery or simply just the wear and tear on the body. Having enough protein is important for the regeneration and repair of tissues. So it's binding back the muscle tissue, and that's a good thing. The other thing to think about is hair and skin. So proteins such as collagen, which we're actually going to talk a little bit more about collagen, because collagen is actually not a complete protein, and I want to explain, how we look at that. So it's essential for maintaining healthy hair. Collagen in particular is structural protein that provides strength and elasticity to the skin. I get asked about collagen all the time. Research has proven over and over and over again that collagen is a really good thing to consume, to take. I just personally have to get past what it actually is in order to consume it. So I hope you guys are laughing, but I just kind of think about it, and I can think about it for too long, and then I get super grossed out, and then I have to remember that the hierarchy of the food chain, and it's all good. So if you guys don't know what I mean, you're basically eating the connective tissue of an animal. And I have a hard enough time with the muscles, and I've thankfully gotten past that in my adult life, but it is one of those things where I'm like, God, this is kind of gross, but it is what it is, right? Also with menstrual health, I want to touch on this, is adequate protein intake can contribute to just an overall healthy menstruation. So proteins play a role in the synthesis of hormones that then again help us regulate our menstrual cycle. So it's really important for us to get a balanced and sufficient amount of protein in our diet. And the needs are going to vary. It's going to vary by our age, by activity level, and just honestly your overall health. And so you're probably asking me, okay, Arin, how much do I need to consume? And so a rule of thumb that I have just come accustomed to recommending, and I feel 100% safe saying this, is first and foremost, for most women, we just need to get them to 100 grams of protein. When a woman actually starts tracking her overall protein intake, it's like 50, 60 grams of protein, maybe. And I mean, that's good, right? And so my goal is always to get a woman close to 100 when we desire weight loss. Now, the actual formula is 0.8 to 1.2 pounds of body weight, meaning your ideal body weight, is what the recommendation is for protein intake. So if a woman desires to be 150 pounds on the scale, and that's a healthy weight for her, then we could basically just say, okay, 0.8 to 1.2, okay, in the middle is 1. And so then 150 grams of protein is the ideal number for a woman. So for myself personally, I personally try to always consume 120 to 130 grams of protein every single day. If I find myself running short, I just simply take in a 25, 30 gram protein shake, just very stripped down. So it's like 150 calories, and I just drink it literally before I go to bed. And so that's a quick way to just pump it in really quick. So I do highly recommend, for most women, you are going to want some sort of supplement when it comes to protein. And this is not to push supplements, but all supplements are not created equal. I have a couple that I personally recommend. So if you're like, hey girl, what do you recommend protein wise? Feel free to just send me a message, and I will send you some links that I have to the proteins that I feel really strongly about. Here's the thing. If protein powder is making you super bloated, if it's making you gassy, you just feel bad on it, it has terrible stuff in it. If you're drinking the drinks that are called ready to drink protein drinks, those have a shelf life. So just realize that there is stuff in them, i.e. preservatives, that allow it to sit on the shelf for a certain amount of time. So just be mindful of that. And here's the thing, in a pinch, I will absolutely grab one of those. But just remember that there is something that allows it to sit on the shelf. Now, some women do totally fine with ready to drink, but I've had a few clients over the years just like, how do you drink these things? I'm like, I don't drink those things. I drink protein powders that I either mix in water or coconut milk or almond milk, the kind that you get in the refrigerated section. So, okay, so we're understanding how important protein is. just from an overall weight loss perspective, because it's going to help us feel fuller. It's also going to help us balance proteins, have better menstrual cycles. It's going to help our body repair and recover. It's also going to help us with bone health, with our immune function. So let's dig into a few other things that come up in these conversations. And the thing that I wanted to touch on is there's been a new wave of low testosterone in women. And there is a ton of factors that go into this. Age is a big one. Is she in menopause? Does she have PCOS? Is she on hormonal contraceptives? How's her adrenals? How's her pituitary gland? Has she been chronically ill? Does she exercise? What's her stress like? So I wanted to bring this into this topic as well, because a lot of women are finding like, man, my testosterone is low. And there's a lot of reasons that go into this. And so what you want to consider is if you do have an extra amount of weight to lose, that is going to be playing a big role in this. So it doesn't mean you can't go to your doctor and talk through some solutions in the interim, but this is going to be even more reason to get the weight off your body. And you may be saying like, hey, Arin, I've been trying to get the weight off my body. And here's the thing, this is where you want to engage a professional, someone who can help you really hey, do we have our food exactly what we need to do? Are we doing the right, appropriate exercise for you personally? Because too many times I see women just beat the snot out of their body, doing way too crazy of workouts, the Orange Theories, the F45s. It's absolutely too much, okay? And we have to dial things back in order to move things forward. So it's really important. And this is another thing that we want to really think about, because as we're losing weight, as we're increasing protein, it's actually really going to help with testosterone. It's actually going to help balance that out and help you feel better. That's one thing that I will tell you that testosterone does for women. There's an appropriate amount in our body, is it actually makes us feel good, have good sex drive. There's just a lot that goes into this. So I wanted to dig into this topic and pull it all around here too, and talk about the whole collagen piece, because I do get this question all the time is collagen a good thing? It actually really is a good thing. Then the next question is, well, what collagen do you take? And so I personally do not. I need to consider taking it. It is a really, really good thing to take. With all supplements, all collagens are not created equal. But again, for me, it is just 100% knowing what it is that I'm like, ooh. So it just grosses me out, to be completely transparent. But it is not a complete protein. So when you think about adding up all your protein in a day, so if someone said that they were drinking a collagen protein powder, that does not go into your overall protein intake for that entire day. So I just wanted to put that out there because I have had people ask that, and it's just collagen is not considered a complete protein. It is a structural protein that is abundant in connective tissues, skin, bones, and tendons. It is primarily composed of 3 amino acids. I will totally botch them by saying them, but it provides important structural support for tissues in our body. So it lacks the essential amino acids that the body cannot produce its own, and we have to obtain them from our diet. So complete proteins contain all 9 essential amino acids. And so animal-based proteins such as meat, fish, eggs, dairy, those are all your complete proteins. Plant-based proteins, including quinoa and soy. So since collagen is not derived from muscle meats, it's primarily composed of a subset of amino acids. It is not considered a complete protein. So I hope that makes sense. It's a good thing to have both. So having a collagen-rich foods and then protein-rich foods. And this will help ensure that you have the broad spectrum of amino acids. And it's just really important for overall health, meeting our body's protein requirements. And it's just advisable to not rely on collagen as a protein source, okay? So I just wanted to put that out there and pull this all around and help you understand why protein is so important, especially when it comes to a weight loss phase of your life, and then truly for longevity for the rest of our life. The main thing in weight loss is you want that satiety, you want to feel full. Now, here's the thing that I will tell you is when, like, let's say you had a plate of a protein and then you had a veggie, and then let's say you had like a sweet potato on there. It takes a little bit of time, like 20 minutes, for your body to catch up that, hey, I'm satisfied. So it's something that I really encourage, because this is the number one reason that I find women overweight and unhappy is they're just eating too much. The second thing is they're not moving their body, they're not drinking enough water, and then they're not sleeping enough. And so we have to get really, really clear on what does the body actually need to consume. And it's really not as much food as you realize. When you actually measure everything out and look at what 1,500 calories or 1,600 calories looks like. Now, here's the cool thing. When that 1,500 calories, for example, is made up of, lean meats and veggies and fruits and eggs and yogurt, a handful of nuts here and there, like it's actually a decent amount of food when you actually portion that all out. So I do want to call that out. When you have very nutrient dense foods, you do get to consume more. So we just want to think about that none of our food is coming from a box, from a can, from a bag. I mean, and I understand like that is virtually impossible to do that. Do I do that? Absolutely not. But for the most part, I really try to shop the perimeter of the grocery store, create most of our meals minus your soups and stews, things like that. I mean, sometimes, I guess I could do my beans and stuff, but let's just be real. So you just want to pick your battles on some of that stuff, but really take a hard look at your protein. Do you feel like you're getting enough? Can you tell the difference on days that you don't get enough? And then consider really tracking this for a duration of time and see what happens when all of a sudden you increase that protein intake on a daily basis. I promise you'll see results. So I hope this has been insightful and helpful and just kind of talking all things around why protein is essential. All right, go get them, and we'll see you on the next one.